Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the quick crypto forecast. I'm going to start with BTC USD long-term view. These are the weekly candles. So the reason I wanted to show this time frame here is because I've seen at least a couple of people on YouTube and some people on Twitter expecting now to be stuck at $4,000, just like we've been stuck at $6,000 for several months. So I don't anticipate this. I think this spike of volume that we had here in this recent breakdown equals this spike of volume here on the previous bear market, and this happens in every market, not just on Bitcoin or on crypto. This happens at the end of every bear market. The volatility and the volume decreases a lot, and when we reach the point of lowest volume and lowest volatility, we eventually have a breakdown, and this is a triggering event for what's coming after, and I think we are going to enter a period of high volatility. It doesn't mean it's going to happen now in the next 5 minutes. We could be stuck here for a week or two. But what I mean is I think high volatility is coming soon, most likely in the downside, as it happens at the end of bear markets. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I don't think we're going to be stuck here for much longer. For the shorter term, here I have the 4 hours for BTC USD Bitstamp, the same. And we are forming a tightening pattern here. We can see that is when we do lower highs and higher lows. The price is tightening and the volume is tightening. We can see the volume is decreasing as well. So I would expect this pattern to break at some point, and I would say it's going to happen by the end of this week, maybe even earlier. Of course, I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball, but looking at the big picture, I'm expecting, as I said before, a period of high volatility. So when this finishes tightening here, I would expect a break, either a break in the upside or the downside. I'm not gonna call for neither of these two. I think it's 50-50 at this point because the big picture is bearish, is really bearish, but we also are very, very oversold. So a bounce is expected. We didn't have a decent bounce for such a long time now. So I'm not gonna call here for the upside or the downside, but I would expect this pattern to break soon. I don't know exactly when, but I'd say maximum at the end of this week. Today is Monday. So if it breaks in the downside, the target is just below 3.5K. And if it breaks in the upside, the target is 4,700 and above 4,700, which is the area that I have been saying that we're going to have a lot of selling pressure here from this sell-off. If you remember from my previous videos, I have been saying around 4,800. If we get up there, it's going to be a hard level to break in the upside because there's a lot of sellers here. Moving on to Ethereum versus the US dollar. These are the 1 week candles for the long-term view. This is Bitfinex, and I've shared this on the premium group some time ago, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, comparing to the to the classic bubble chart. And yeah, this was euphoria, complacency, denial, and this recent drop down, I think that was panic. So a little bit of sideways here. As I said, I shared this like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So a little bit of sideways we're having here because this is major support as well from this peak here at $100. Plus $100 is psychological number as well for trading. And then the final target for capitulation is between $50 and $60. I gave this target between $50 and $60 months and months ago. I'll tell you where the target comes from. So if we just look at the linear scale here, you see this first drop down here, not the first drop down, but after this huge pump, we had a vertical drop and then consolidation here. This is a very obvious bear flag here. So if we get the target from this bear flag from top to bottom of the pole, and then we put this on the breakout or on the breakdown, and we can see the target is down here for the $55. So this target was set here from a long time ago. Been sharing this as well on the premium rooms for a very long time, and this target still has to be made, and this target is still perfectly valid here. So moving on to the 4 hours, we have the exact same pattern that I explained for BTC USD, and this is tightening in price and in volume, so I expect this to break. Right now we are at support, so I expect this to bounce back again and tighten until this pattern breaks either in the upside or the downside. So target in the upside is $134. Target on the downside is just below $100. Moving on to the EOS versus US dollar chart. Again, I have here the weekly candles for a little bit of longer term view. We had this target as well at $2.88 for a very, very long time since this pattern started to form here, tightening in price and in volume. We can see here almost at the end of this pattern, the volume was a ridiculous low, and it finally broke down. Yeah, the bias was in the downside. That's why the target was in the downside, because we are in the middle of a bear market and this is a continuation pattern, and it's always expected that the price will reject at moving averages and it'll be pushed down. So it finally broke down. It made the target finally after months. And now what do you do when price hits targets? Well, you take your profit and wait and see what happens, because after targets are reached, you expect a bounce. So let's see if this bounces. It's expected that, it should bounce, but if it doesn't bounce, because, markets can do whatever they want, it's fine. You took your profit and you wait for, signals and confirmations. If this doesn't bounce and it breaks in the downside, then the two next obvious supports are at $2 and $1.13, which comes from all the way in the past here. As you can see in the very first bubble here, we had this resistance, very significant resistance, and very significant support here. So this would be the two levels to watch if this if the current 2.88 level does not hold. 4 hours for EOS. This one is a little bit different than the other, than the BTC or the Ethereum. This is not a tightening, triangle. Like, it's not a symmetric triangle. It's more like a bearish triangle doing lower highs and same level lows. So this is more bearish compared to other charts. It looks more weak, relative to other cryptos. However, the volume is also decreasing here, so I don't expect this to break until we see spikes of volume here. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot I can say about this time frame. Just wait for a break. This one looks more like it's gonna either break on the downside or continue sideways. Even if the rest of the market breaks in the upside, which of course is not sure or even probable, but this one looks weaker compared to other coins. So I would expect maybe sideways here, but yeah, hard to do any analysis here right now. Yeah, it doesn't say a lot, these short-term candles here. Moving on to the Cardano versus the US dollar. So again, these are the one week candles. We are below moving averages here, below the 20, and getting rejected every time on the 20-week moving average. So there's no reason to think this is going to reverse. It's always safer to assume continuation. As soon as the moving average catches up with the price, you need to expect continuation and rejection unless the price gets above the 20-week moving average and actually stays above it. That would be the first sign that we could have maybe seen the bottom, but so far there's no confirmation here. Again, this is a very, very young chart. I picked the Binance exchange because it's the one that has the longest history. However, we are at the all-time lows, as you can see here, so there's no more levels of support for me to draw below the all-time lows here. So I have no idea. We are suspended in mid-air. There's no way to know where the bottom is. Doing technical analysis, the only thing you can do here basically is do fundamental analysis. If you really like this project, if you see that developers are actually working on this project. I have no idea personally about this project, but you need to do a a good research and fundamental analysis here. If you think developers are actually working on it and there's stuff coming in the future, then hey, it corrected 97% already. So according to technical analysis, after a 97% correction, it should be a good level to to accumulate. I personally find it very, very risky for all these new projects that just came out of nowhere during the hype season. But yes, I said I don't know anything about this project, fundamentally speaking. And going into the 4-hour candles for the shorter term, exactly the same pattern: tightening price, tightening volume. When this breaks out, the target in the upside would be 0.05 and the target in the downside is 0.032. So these are the targets, and by the way, I didn't say it before, but how you get these targets is you draw a line from the highest to the lowest of this tightening pattern, and then you put it on the breakout. I'm estimating the breakout to happen around the end of the triangle, but this is only an estimation. Let's say it breaks right now in the downside and we see volume confirmation, then you would need to put this on at the level of the breakout, and in this case the target would be lower, would be at 0.03. so this is only an estimation. You guys need to draw these lines on your own chart and monitor yourself and put the lines when if the breakout happens, and also wait for volume confirmation. That's all for today's forecast, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.